We all knew this was coming. Stardew Valley is my favorite game of all time, and I couldn't not do something about it in Notion. I feel like if you're watching this video, you're coming from one of two places. Either you watch me play Stardew Valley a lot over on my Twitch channel, or you've seen my D&D Notion templates and you're looking for another one. Here is where the worlds combine. If you are a Stardew Valley pro, you know that one of the hardest tasks to do in this game is to complete it to perfection. But there are a lot of things to keep track of when you are trying to achieve that. So today I'm going to walk you through the Notion template I made to track everything you need to do to achieve perfection in Stardew Valley. So here it is. Here's the template. It's got so much stuff going on, so we're just gonna start from the top and work our way down. This cover is a design that I did on my Ginger Island farm. You're welcome. And of course I had to include the golden chicken as the little icon. And then you know I love me a 3-column layout right at the top. Over here on the right is the perfection to do. These are all of the things that are listed in order to achieve perfection. And it's just a simple to-do list, so you can just check them off when you do them. In the middle, we have this lovely piece of art by Jessica Smith. These isometric drawings are so cool. Highly recommend going to her website, Art of Jess, and looking at all of them. They're so beautiful. I'm assuming that if you want to achieve perfection, that means you're gonna want to complete the community center. No shade, if you want to do a JoJo run, you can still complete perfection and get perfection, but I'm just assuming that if this is your first time, you're probably doing the community center. So don't worry, I've outlined everything you need to complete the community center here. So this is the community center. I've listed out all of the bundles, and when you're donating anything, you just open the toggle and select that you've donated it. There is an option when you're making your farm to remix your bundles, which are these ones that are highlighted in brown. I would just say when you unlock your community center and you figure out which bundles you have and what they look like, just go in and delete whatever's not there and add whatever is so that the toggles match your community center for your farm. Right underneath the community center, we have the museum. The museum is very important for one reason and one reason only, and that is whenever you complete it, donating all the artifacts and all the minerals, you get a star drop. So I have made a table, a database for every single artifact and every single mineral and how you can find them. I understand that this is a lot of information. I think as you're going through it, I would recommend filtering by different things to sort of lessen the amount of space it takes up so you can really find what you're looking for. But don't worry, we're gonna go through the whole thing. I've done this on every database. I've listed out a checkbox right at the top, so as soon as you donate something, you can just check it off to say that you've donated it. So let's just go through this because it looks very overwhelming. You have the name of the artifact, where you can dig it up, if you can get it from a fishing treasure chest, and then if you can get it in the mines in a couple different ways. Most of these pages are very simple. Sometimes they don't even have anything written in them because all the information you need is up in just like the main view of the database. Anything you can find from mining probably has a little bit more information. For example, we're looking at Dwarf Scroll 2 here. These are the monsters that can drop it, and these are the floors that you can mine it from, like tilling the soil. Also, it's worth noting that all of these artifacts can be found from artifact troves, like literally every single one of them. So if you're stuck on one, just buy a bunch of artifact troves. Underneath the artifacts, we have minerals. So again, we have the name of the mineral, we have the source, and then we have a list of the geodes they can come from, if they can come from geodes at all. Again, if you're looking for something very specific, it might have more information if you open it up. Things like monster drops, obviously only certain monsters can drop certain things. So I would just open up the pages and see. Next up, we have villagers. One thing you need to achieve perfection, like I said earlier, is the Great Friends goal. And in order to do that, you have to give some gifts to villagers. So I have created a database of all of the different villagers. First column is a checkbox, so when you get to full hearts with someone, you can just check it off. Then we have their name, the location of where they live, whether or not they're a marriage candidate, their birthday season, and then date. And then this is a status, so you can add a number. So like if I get up to 8 hearts with Marnie, I can select 8 hearts. Truth be told, I probably wouldn't keep track of this. I would just look at it in the game, but if you feel so inclined, unlike the museum, which has just like, you know, general information, all of these villagers have information in their pages. So if I open up Abigail, for example, you can see the gifts that she loves, likes, and hates. And then I've also included little descriptions of their heart events. So if you're struggling to see cutscenes and you want to see them, you can just open up the villagers tab and see how to achieve their cutscenes or what you get at each heart level with them. Obviously, some villagers, like the bachelors and bachelorettes, have more options to have cutscenes or to like give them gifts, whereas others, their lists are a little bit shorter. But I figured I'd include all of them just so you have them. One way that I would probably filter this is as I'm playing, filter it by season. That way I know whose birthday is coming up, because giving a loved gift on a birthday grants more hearts than giving it on any other day. So for example, if my game turns over to summer, I would filter this by summer and see who I need to start collecting items for to be ready for their birthday in that season. On the topic of villagers, if we are back on the main page, I did just want to jump down to here where I've included a database of universal loves, likes, neutral, dislikes, and hated gifts. This one is probably going to be the one you use the most, and it's very, very simple. These are universal loved items. So if you give any villager any of these items, except for these couple exceptions, then you will get the max amount of hearts possible for giving a loved item. Scrolling back up, one of the other things you have to do is complete the Master Angler achievement, aka catch every fish in the game. So here we have a fishing guide. Again, a lot of information. I would probably filter this by season just so that you're not looking at a mass wall of text and you can figure out exactly which fish you need to catch. So left to right, we have a checkbox for if you've caught it. We have the name, the category of the fish, the season it can be caught in, and then this text box for any specific locations, the time they can be catched, and whether it is weather dependent. These fish don't have any information in the subpages. You can just look at this database across the board here. You don't need to open up any pages. Bear in mind, if there is text here under the location tab, it's a very specific location. So other fish like the sunfish, the tiger trout, all of these river fish just means that they can be caught in any river if there's no extra text here. Heading back, the next thing we need is to ship every item. This is an incredibly long list. A ridiculously long list, so don't get stressed about it. Again, we have our checkbox, so once you've shipped something, you can check it off. The name, the type of item it is, if it's seasonally dependent, and then again, a specific location. So certain things like the basic forage, for example, the wild horseradish is a spring forageable, but it doesn't really have a specific location. You can sort of find it anywhere on the map, but other things like coconuts can only be foraged in the Calico Desert, but it's not seasonally dependent. Next up, we have crafting recipes. This one to me is much simpler to look at. Again, we have our checkbox on the left here for when you've crafted it, you can check it off. We have the name of the item, where to find it, and then any other specific notes about that item that I thought was relevant. There are a bunch of different ways to find crafting recipes all throughout the game. Most of them you come across fairly easily, but you know, there might be one or two that you have no idea how to get, and that is where this database will probably come in the most handy for you. For the different levels, I've included which level you get it at, just in case you're curious. For different shops, like the Wicked statue you can get from Krobus's shop for 1,000 gold, or from the Carpenter shop, I included all of the prices. Sometimes you will need to get a villager to a certain heart level to get a crafting recipe. For example, you get the drum block and the flute block from Robin once you achieve 6 hearts with her. Some of them are kind of weird, so like you only get casks when you've upgraded your farmhouse to have a basement, but I have included all of the relevant information on all of these pages. Some of these pages are pretty simple. For example, Scarecrow you get after farming level 1, so I've just included the recipe here, but other things like the deluxe Scarecrow, which you can only get after collecting all 8 rare crows, don't worry, I've included how to achieve all 8 rare crows, so you don't even have to worry about it. And the last thing here under the quick links is the cooking recipes, which looks very similar to the crafting recipes. We have a checkbox again for if you've cooked them, the name, where to find it, and any notes relevant to that recipe. Most of these recipes at the top here, you're either going to get from a villager in the mail or by watching the Queen of Sauce. I always recommend watching the TV in your farmhouse every single day and just checking what's out there, and just always watching the Queen of Sauce when she turns on. But she does follow a schedule, which I don't think I even knew. So like, I didn't know that always on spring 28 of year 1, she's gonna teach you how to make an omelet. But that's true, and I included that here in the notes if you're curious about it, but just watch TV every day. You'll get all of them eventually, I promise you. And then for the villager recipes, they are heart dependent. So for example, when you reach 3 hearts with Emily, she will send you the salad recipe in the mail. If we scroll down a little further, we get to a few different sources. So you get some recipes when you level up. For example, once you reach farming level 3, you will get the farmer's lunch recipe. And then other ones you can buy from stores. For example, you can buy the ginger ale recipe from the volcano dwarf for 1,000 gold. And all of these recipes have pages within them, so it lists out the recipe of the things that you need to make that recipe. Some of the recipes require other recipes, which I think is a little sick and twisted. So something like the complete breakfast, you need a fried egg, milk, hash browns, and pancakes. And so I've just included back pages, and you can see really small the things for that recipe needed for the secondary recipe. Also, if you're curious and want a pro tip, so many things require things that Pierre sells. So wheat flour, rice, vinegar, sugar. I would just go to Pierre's once you have enough money and buy like 200 of each. Also, since we're at the last database, I should say an important filter to add would be for the checkbox and keeping unchecked as the filter. That way, as you do things, whether it be cooking recipes or finding artifacts or catching fish or whatever, you can check them off and they'll disappear because you have this filter turned on. Like if I clear this out, they'll come back as checked, but it'll lower your list and you'll have just less to look at overall. We made it through the quick links. We can keep scrolling down. Underneath that, I have some links to some really, really cool websites that I highly recommend you check out. The first is the Stardew Valley Wiki. I've gotten a lot of information both from the wiki and also from the guidebook. This guidebook that I keep on my desk. It is very, very helpful, but I understand if not everybody can get this book themselves. So highly recommend checking out the wiki, which has a lot of information, including more specific information on how to find things and the percentage chance of finding things, etc., etc., etc. Nextly, we have a website that I use to plan out my farms. If you are a decorator, I would highly encourage you to check out this website, stardew.info, which gives you a top-down overview of the farm, and you can like place down buildings and place down fences and see exactly where you want your crops to go. Very, very helpful. The next thing is a checkup tool. I should preface this by saying it is only really useful if you are playing on PC. So if you're playing on your phone or on console, this will not help you, but you can upload your save here and look up very specific information on what you're missing. I would recommend using this to search for golden walnuts if you've sort of lost track of them. And the last thing is a spreadsheet that my friend Jess, aka the Valiant Son, has made called the Heart Calculator. You can input exactly what you've given them, and it will tell you exactly how far off you are from max hearts with any given villager. Again, down below we have the universal gifts, which I've already shown you. Here in the middle we have a very small database to keep track of our farmers' skill levels. So we have farming, mining, foraging, fishing, combat. And then if you open it up, we actually have all of the professions listed. So if you're ever interested in changing the professions using the switcher in the sewer, you can check them out here. I would probably highlight these as you gain them. So for example, if I wanted to go for tiller, I would highlight this in yellow, I guess, to just like signify that that's the one I chose. And then this goes vertically. Once you select your level 5 profession, you will then have 2 more choices at level 10. So if you select rancher, your 2 options will be coop master or shepherd. And if you select tiller, it'll be artisan or agriculturalist. And then I've included a space here to add your own to-do list. If you have very specific short-term goals that you're working on, you can write them down here. I was a serial note taker the first time I got perfection. This desk was covered in little slips of paper of things that I wanted to do. So you can just add in all the things you want to do here in this little to-do list section. As we scroll down, we get into some fairly basic checklists that I've included. These are just the other parts of getting perfection that you need to complete. So here on the left, we have the Monster Slayer checklist. This is the exact same as the one that is in the Adventurers Guild, but they're all just listed out here and you can check them off as you achieve them. Over here on the right, we have the locations of every single star drop. And then down below, we have the cost of all of the obelisks plus the golden clock. And then lastly, we have our walnut checklist. Finding the golden walnuts is, I think, the hardest thing to keep track of in getting perfection. So I've done my best to separate out where all of them are without just spoiling the entire thing for you. But if you are curious, I've included a link to a YouTube video by Wickedy where to find all 130 golden walnuts. Highly recommend watching that video if you are stuck or missing one. Again, if you're playing on PC, that checkup tool up here, insanely helpful for finding out which golden walnuts you've missed. That is the whole template. That's the whole template. If you are interested in getting this template for yourself, there's a couple different places you can get it. One is on the official Notion template gallery. I have my own creator profile on there, so you can check it out over down there. I've also listed it on my Ko-Fi as a pay what you want. Putting this together, it was a labor of love. It was a lot of work to figure out exactly where everything needed to go and uploading all the icons and everything like that. So it is pay what you want over on my Ko-fi, but you know, if you wanted to throw a few bucks my way for putting this together, I wouldn't say no. Also, it should be noted that as of recording this, the 1.6 update is scheduled to come out very, very soon. If there are any new items, new crafting recipes, new cooking recipes, anything like that that changes perfection, don't worry, I will be uploading the template to include all of that new information as soon as we figure out what it is. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and maybe leave a comment. Tell me if you've ever hit perfection and what it was like, and if you enjoyed it, and if you were excited for 1.6 like I am, because oh my god, I'm so excited for the 1.6 update. Also, if you're interested in watching me play Stardew Valley, one, I have a ton of Stardew Valley videos on this channel and my VOD channel, and I stream it all the time over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/stelllajo. I wish you luck in hitting perfection, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!